Welcome to the Zipco Bros Podcast.
Hey, yo, and welcome to episode 13 of the Zip Code Bros. Today we are talking about our man, Scott Hall, Razor Ramon, and we have two very special guest stars, one from each side of the world. We got our one friend, Chris Power in Melbourne, and we got our buddy Domino Chris over in West Texas.
Currently making the drive over to Houston. Swig a monster for the working man. Cheers.
Cheers. Got my Royal Rumble cup, Jimmy.
Fast twitch.
Take a pause in a second so I can grab a beer. But
this episode not sponsored by Monster in any way, but it could be if the price is right.
Oh, it could be. It could be. I'm you know what? I'm a fan of the Monster Ultra Zero. The one that tastes like an apple, a sour apple.
Oh, there's so many of them now, because every time I think of Zero, I think of the white one, but now there are so many different ones. I haven't had the sour apple, but I've heard good things.
It's really good. It's probably the best apple drink I've had, and I'm a big apple guy.
Okay, fair enough. Better than Mott's apple juice. That's big talk.
Yes, that's okay. Touche. All right.
Apple? That's a lie.
I gotta bring the heat. We gotta bring the heat with some of these questions. I'm just saying, we did the comparison game the other night, and you know how heated that got. So I can only imagine if we start throwing food and drinks into the mix, how crazy things can get.
Well, who knows? Who knows how this episode's gonna go? Maybe.
I smell a new segment. Okay, go on. I'm not taking over the show. Go on.
And with us, as always, is our man Jimmy Sorensen and our man Ben Jones. And I am your host, Michael John Gallagher II. I'm excited for this episode. I was a big Razor fan growing up, and I know that we have a huge Scott Hall fan on with us, and Mr. Power over here. So, the first thing I kind of wanted to do is just kind of go around and just kind of introduce ourselves a little bit. One of the exciting things that we have is Domino's on. Domino's doing something really, really cool right now. Domino, why don't you tell us all what you're doing?
Sure, man. Decided to take on a new challenge in terms of content and growing my channels. You can find me on every platform: Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat, TikTok, Twitter, at Real Domino Chris, which I will put in the comments and or description section at the end of this. But right now we're doing 30 Major League Baseball parks in 30 days. There have been many groups that have tried. There have been few groups that have succeeded. To my knowledge, there has been no individual person that's done it by himself, him or herself, I should say. And especially doing it flying. This is a complete road trip. We've had a lot of brutal ones. I've got the entire schedule posted on my Twitter page. Most of the tough drives have been done already because we're 10 days in. Today's day 11. And we're not in the home stretch yet. Again, we're not even halfway, but it's been an unbelievable experience so far, even though some of the drives have been brutal. Once you get there, once you meet the people, have some of the food and the local beers and all that sort of thing, it's just been an unbelievable time. I've been giving daily updates on Twitter and Instagram, but more than anything, I can't wait for the full vlogs of each park to come out a little bit later, probably in a couple weeks or so. So be sure to stay tuned for that. But no, it's one of those where some people can say it's a once in a lifetime thing. I sort of view it as that, in the sense that if I don't do it now, I'm not sure if I ever will be able to. So I'm enjoying it.
That's great. That's great. And we look forward to, I know I look forward to seeing all the vlogs, and I like looking at the Twitter updates that you're making. The churro dog that you guys had, the other day, was a really cool update.
What am I?
Who are we missing?
Oh, he cut out.
He's
West Texas internet. I've had this before. Domino's back.
There he is. All right. We are going to keep moving on. Ben, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, doing good, man. I'm glad to be joined by my good mate Chris today, who I've known for 21 years.
Wow.
So yeah, welcome Chris to the Zip Code Bros. Do you want to let the guys know how big a Scott Hall fan you are?
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't see him till '97 because that was when I first got to see him. I never got to see the WWF stuff when they had WCW here in Australia. That was, I think it was WCW Worldwide. They only showed here, and they didn't have any stuff like that by then. It was like, you know, just leading up to basically Hulk Hogan coming into the company. So I saw him in '97 and in the NWO, and I thought it was just really cool from the start. And yeah, I'm a huge fan, as Ben knows. Yeah, I just think he's the coolest guy in wrestling. I honestly do. He was just so cool, laid back, and his promos were awesome.
I had actually in my notes, Mr. Chris, I actually had a question for you.
Yeah, sure.
And the question was, is there anybody cooler than Scott Hall?
No.
So it was funny that you said that, because I actually was going to ask you that same question.
Yeah. So yeah, no, he's
about
really meant a lot.
Hall? What about Scott Hall? Like, definitely cool. But what was it about Scott Hall that really made you stop and say, "Oh"? Because the coolness factor draws you in, but you got to have other things to keep you in. What kept you in?
Besides his coolness, I suppose just who he was as a person. Like, he just, everything that he did on TV was worthwhile. And I don't think he had the best matches in WCW. Obviously, looking back at the Razor Ramon matches and stuff like that, but just his persona. And as a young 14, 15-year-old growing up, I saw Scott Hall and I was just like, this guy is amazing. Like, I wasn't really comfortable in my skin younger, and I just modeled everything off him, so to speak. Which wasn't always good because, you know, as you know, he was a big alcoholic. And like, I was always scared as a young adolescent growing up to try alcohol. But then when I saw Scott Hall on Nitro having so much fun drinking and stuff, I was like, hey, this is pretty cool. And yeah, huge fan. I never got to meet him, unfortunately. There was a chance he was coming to Australia. He was coming to Melbourne, and it was during the COVID time, and that got cancelled, and it got pushed back, and it got pushed back, and then in the end, I couldn't meet him, and then he passed away. So I was a bit upset about that. But you know, these things can't be helped, I suppose. But I just always thought he was just really cool guy, and I understand what he's been through in the past, shooting a guy and post-traumatic stress and all that. So I don't know. I guess I can relate to him a little bit.
You're
just thinking
out of the park early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's really cool. I just think he's really cool, and just unfortunate that he's passed away now.
Yeah. So a couple of things we like to do on the show is we like to kind of go around and talk about our favorite versions of the wrestler. In this case, we got Scott Hall. So there was Big Scott Hall in the AWA. We had the Diamond Stud. We had Razor Ramon, and we had the NWO Scott Hall. What were some of your favorite versions of Scott Hall? Let's start with you, Chris.
Well, yeah. Looking back, I think when
I'm sorry, boys, we got a special guest.
Oh.
Oh, it's Coach. We've got a full team. This is great.
That's great. What's going on? hold on, AJ. What you got? A Yankee? Do you have a Yankee jersey on?
Yeah, I got a Yankees jersey on. The best damn team in fucking
Atta
baseball.
kid. Atta kid.
AJ's drinking. This might be a great show.
Well, I gotta pause it for a second. I'm sorry.
Adams.
Yep.
I mean,
All right. Well, we are welcomed by our man AJ. AJ, it's good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Excellent. So we just kind of started before you got on. We were going to go around and tell everybody about our favorite versions of Scott Hall. And we're going to start with our man, Chris from Australia. What's your favorite version of Scott Hall?
My favorite version of Scott Hall has to be the NWO. Like this, yeah, that was just the coolest and the best, and that's what won me over as a fan. Yep.
Right on. What about you, Domino?
I'd probably say the same, only because that's the era I grew up in. An argument could certainly be made that since it involved more championships, more prestige, more, I'd probably say upper card matches, you could make a case for Razor Ramon, but I grew up in the NWO era, so I have to go with that as well.
All right. Mr. Sorensen.
probably it's a tough one. I really enjoyed the Kings of Wrestling version of Scott Hall. It's not as known, but he did have few appearances in TNA throughout the last 20 years, and I enjoyed that.
Okay. Ben, what about you?
I'd have to say NWO as well, but I obviously preferred his work as Razor Ramon. But his character in NWO was what sold me on him.
That's great. It's too sweet, you could even say. AJ, what about you?
Yeah, definitely the NWO Scott Hall. I'd say even up through when the NWO split, but after they kind of came back together is when he kind of started to taper off.
Yeah. And I got some we got some fun stuff coming up with the NWO later on too. So we got some cool stuff coming up. All right. Yeah, my favorite version of Scott Hall is definitely Razor Ramon. I grew up in that I got into wrestling that 92, 93 era. So Razor was kind of a new guy to me. I had Remember the Diamond Stud. So I remember it was, when him and Diesel and Kevin Nash came in, it was, there's Vinny Vegas, there's the Diamond Stud. So it was, I like Razor. Razor was my favorite version of him. I think he had better matches as Razor Ramon, and we'll definitely get into our favorite matches in a second. But I don't think we can talk about Scott Hall without talking about Kevin Nash and the Outsiders. So a couple things about the Outsiders, just kind of go around. Like, one of the things that I don't necessarily know if we really need to go into detail about the Outsiders, because we all pretty much know it. But one of the fun things I kind of wrote down was I would love to hear everybody's fantasy match, the Outsiders versus. So it's got to be a team that maybe they did face, but maybe the match wasn't a big deal, or team now, team back in the day. What about you, Chris?
Oh, look, that's tough. Maybe I reckon the Outsiders versus the X, HBK and Triple H back in the day, back in 97, 98. That version I'd say would be pretty cool.
I like it. Adam, what are you drinking?
I am drinking Terramana tequila. It's the tequila that The Rock makes.
Which version?
Nice.
Is it good because you're half in the bag, or does it taste good because it tastes good?
It tastes good because it tastes good. It's the smoothest tequila I've ever had.
Which version? Like
the clear version. There's a clear version, a brown version, and another one.
Black version.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So since you're on the spotlight, what about you? Outsiders, fantasy booking.
I think Outsiders and FTR would put together a phenomenal match.
Okay, I like that. What about you, Domino?
Easy for me. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. It's very well documented that Kevin Owens was a huge fan of that. Grew up in that era. Was a big Scott Hall guy, and I can imagine Sami Zayn was obviously into wrestling at that point too. So I think that would be a dream match for all the fans, but especially for that tag team in particular.
I like that one. Ben.
I'm going to have to go with Chris and say Triple H and Shawn Michaels from DX. I think if that happened around mid-97, when they were sort of both at the height, that would have been a good time to do it.
That would be something else. Right around WrestleMania, WrestleMania 15?
97
13.
would have been 13.
97's 14. Yeah, 97 was 13, 14.
Yeah.
14, I think would have been the perfect time.
97 is 13, 98 is 14.
97 was 13, 98 was 14, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but I think in that time when both companies were blooming, 14 would have been the perfect time.
Yeah. So Survivor Series 97 with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash versus Triple H and Shawn Michaels. How the world would have been different. Jimmy, what about you, brother?
If we didn't have the Montreal Screw job, yeah.
That's the joke. Thanks, Jimmy.
If it's a tough one because I'm picking. I want to see two teams from either Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, the Outsiders, versus either Los Guerreros or Team 3D.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough, I think.
Yeah, I like it. I think the Dudleys versus Outsiders would have been fantastic. I'm going to go with the Legion of Doom just because I think they would beat the crap out of each other. Like, really just beat the crap out of each other. And I think that, I don't know, I think it would be cool to see the Road Warriors versus the Outsiders because you got the best team of arguably the best team of the 80s fighting arguably the best team of the 90s.
Or I'd probably say the APA as well.
That would be fun too. APA, that would be fun too.
What about the Usos?
Oh, you could honestly. I think the Usos have gotten to a point where I just put them up against anybody. It's a fantasy match
For sure.
I remember I'm trying to think how long ago it was. I think it was like 10 years ago. I was training down in Texas and I was on the treadmill at the gym and I was watching Raw and the Usos were fighting the New Day. And it was still when they were doing the tribal dance and they were still wearing the Samoan garb and stuff like that. But I just remember texting my buddy Rob and just being like, dude, the Usos are going to be freaking awesome. And they've just been the best, the Usos.
I know we don't talk about current stuff, but did anybody watch SmackDown this past episode?
I did not, but I saw the promo. With the Bloodline promo. Is that what you're talking about?
Like everybody was complaining about how Roman shouldn't have kept the title. How he kept the title. This story is getting more intriguing even after the fact.
Oh, it's been the best story in years, man. Best story in years. You know who I am, but you don't know why I'm here. What are some of your favorite Scott Hall promos?
It's not really a promo, but he got into that shtick where he would come out and poll the audience, and no matter how they answered, everybody froze. Okay, there we go. No matter how they answered, it was always that's one more for the good guys.
Hey yo,
it's actually interesting. AJ, because when Scott first started doing those promos in WCW, I think the first at least week or two, he would do the survey and he would say, "That's one more for the bad guys," and then eventually he changed it to one more for the good guys.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Don't know why. Maybe I don't know if it's got anything to do with Razor being the bad guys, but he changed it. I don't know why, but it was better saying the good guys, I think.
I enjoyed the build up to the Survivor Series 92 match with him and Ric Flair versus Perfect and Savage.
Yeah, that was
I
pretty
enjoyed
cool.
that build up. He was pretty good, but I can't really think of any other promos that Scott Hall did that really memorable. I mean, there was a promo he was involved in that was great. The NWO promo where Rock meets him. You, Chico, Razor Ramon. I mean, that was the best. And he was involved in that. So I guess he gets brownie points for that, right?
Mhm.
Well, I think it's more of the subtleties that he brought to the promo. For instance, a lot of, it kind of sometimes flies under the radar. Scott Hall used to say things like, if y'all don't have the guts, or, talking about like, we're the stuff, like he would kind of like toe the lines in terms of the censors, when that's pretty much what you had to do in WCW anyway. And again, it's sort of an underrated thing, those small things that got over with the fans, in my opinion.
Yeah. I like it. Jimmy, any Scott Hall memories?
Memories, just him coming through the crowd with a baseball bat. Just
What did you like about his TNA run?
it was too much. It was in intervals, but more than anything, I didn't really catch the 04 too much. But like I've gone back on the Impact and watched it, and I thought that was pretty great. But I was able to catch him more towards 2010-ish when Hogan came back in, and was it 10?
Yeah, 2010.
No, I was thinking 10, 8 or 10, something like that. It was when he was supposed to come back. Just
Whatever year it was, that's the year it was. Continue.
No. I'm just saying, just in the intervals. I thought I was able to catch him more on the TNA intervals.
Yeah.
Sort of. That's
I
all.
gotcha.
But also then WWE, when they did the NWO reuniting in like 2015, for like a Raw something, or like Hogan's birthday, I think was one of them, and then
They did a lot of reuniting over the last couple of years. At least twice a year they were on Raw together, I would say.
I guess my favorite memory of Scott, now that I know about it, him creating Sting.
Yeah, that's a great, it's a good segue into kind of behind the scenes with Scott. A lot of people said that he had one of the best creative minds for the business. I think one thing that we can be said about Scott Hall is obviously his extracurricular activities have something to be desired, and unfortunately he paid the price for it. But I think him as a talent is a good model, because he just wanted to do the right thing. He didn't care if he won or lost. He just wanted to do the right thing. And when he found stuff like the Crow gimmick, he gave it to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's good. That's good. But let's talk about some matches about Scott Hall. I'll start it off. I mean, I'd say the first real memory that I have of Scott Hall or Razor Ramon has got to be him versus the 1-2-3 Kid.
Has to be.
It's definitely my first, even though the Survivor Series was the year before. I mean, the first feud that really made me take notice was him versus the 1-2-3 Kid, because it ultimately turned him face. And I'll just kind of go around. You guys can popcorn this. Was there a bigger shock or a bigger surprise than when 1-2-3 Kid beat Razor Ramon on Raw?
There's a Nitro where Hector Garza beats Scott Hall. That was pretty surprising.
So just, again, doing the job for other people.
Yeah, he well, don't need to go into too many details. Scott Hall did that for a few though. He put over a very young Chris Jericho in '97.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't say doing the job. I wouldn't say putting over. Just he put over
Say
quite a
that
few.
well, yeah, no, call it whatever you like. I mean, the point is he took the loss, even if it came as an attacking someone, attacking the opponent after the fact. The fact is, people can say wins and losses don't matter. Sometimes they do, depending on how you're trying to get your character over. So I think in that sense, maybe not the Hector Garza one, but the Jericho one I think meant more, and obviously the 1-2-3 Kid one did as well. I don't know if I certainly wasn't trying to one up that one, but it was more of in the same category.
No, I like that. No, I like that. It just shows you what kind of guy he was when you put guys like Hector Garza over and a guy like Sean Waltman over, very young Sean Waltman. Anybody just shout out your favorite matches. I mean, obviously there's one off the top of my head, but I'll let somebody else shout it out.
Yeah, just what's fresh. Domino Chris. Yeah, you're right. He did put Jericho over. Was that on a Nitro or was that on a Thunder? Do you remember?
I'm 99% sure it was a Nitro.
I think it was
okay, because I do remember Scott Hall had a match with Chris Jericho on a Nitro, and basically Scott Hall beat him in like a minute. Then after the match,
I remember that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, Jericho absolutely snapped, and he goes, "This is absolute garbage. I'm sick of this."
Right.
And then so Scott Hall repaid him by doing that. So that was nice of Scott. The Hector Garza, I'm gonna have to look that one up. I didn't even know that happened. If I can be honest.
It came as a result of Scott Hall bullying referee Brian Hildebrand, better known as Mark Curtis, to the WCW fans. So he was messing with him, and Hector Garza either rolled him up or got him in some quick package, and Mark Curtis fast counted him, and it became a pretty. I mean, the pop was enormous. Wherever WCW was that night, it must have been a southern town because it was very pro WCW, and the pop of the crowd was fantastic. I think it was Hector Garza. If it wasn't, it was another luchador, but I think it was Hector Garza.
All right. Yeah, I might have to look that one up. But I think it's pretty well established. Scott Hall really didn't have a lot of good matches in WCW. I'd say probably his best match was against Sting. What was it? 98?
Uncensored,
yeah. Uncensored for the world title. I think that was his best singles match.
Yeah, he wins World War III, gets a world title shot, doesn't get it until uncensored, and can't even go on last. Thanks a lot, Eric Bischoff. Thank you, bud.
Yeah. So I think that was his best singles match in WCW. He had a lot of obviously good tag team matches with Big Nash. But my favorite personal match of all time with Scott Hall has to be the WWF Royal Rumble 93 against Bret Hart. Yeah, that's my favorite. Razor Ramon. But he did have some good ladder matches with Shawn Michaels for sure. But I'd say the one with Bret Hart at Royal Rumble 93 was the best.
It's interesting to note that Scott Hall never appeared in a Royal Rumble match.
Oh, no way.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Only the fake Razor.
So technically, Razor Ramon has been in a Royal Rumble, but not Scott Hall.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Scott Hall.
I like it.
So
That's a pretty. I like that. I like that Bret Hart. That's interesting. That's interesting. I mean, my favorite match has got to be. I mean, it's the 1-2-3 Kid was put on the map, but I mean the ladder match is, it's my first live WrestleMania I watched, and just watching that match again, it's unreal. And I got some bugs flying around my room. You guys can see the shadows. There's one more match, guys. It's not a classic match, but it's the match.
Which one?
It's
In
Scott Hall,
WWF?
Kevin Nash, and Hulk Hogan versus the Macho Man Randy Savage, Sting, and Lex Luger. Bash at the Beach, 96.
Yep.
That was a good match. But what are we talking about? Actually, a good wrestling match or
No, we're just talking about matches that were important. In his
well,
career.
yeah. Well, obviously that one changed everything. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, what did you guys think of the WrestleMania 18 one against Steve Austin?
Nah, he wasn't.
It was okay.
He wasn't fit enough. He wasn't match ready. It was okay, but I think Austin was pissed off with the whole thing. So
He took a great stunner.
Yeah, he did.
he took a stunner better than anyone. I swear. The Rock, maybe The Rock's second, but yeah, Hall took a good stunner. That's for sure.
What are your favorite versions of the NWO?
2000.
All right.
Smart ass.
He's officially muted.
Finally, after 13 episodes, he gets muted.
NWO 2000. Come on, bro. Seriously?
Yeah, but you got to remember, Jimmy's like 12 years old.
That's right. That's a good point.
No,
What's your favorite version of the NWO? Domino's Frozen. Adam, what's your favorite version of the NWO?
I like the original when it was just Hogan and Nash and Hall. You know, they added some here and there, and that was fine. I didn't mind the split between Black and White and the Wolfpack either. After that, though, the WWE reunion was fine. TNA reunion where they were the whatever of wrestling was fine, but just I'd keep it to the original and the split.
Ben, you got the shirt on. What about you? What's your favorite version?
Yeah, 96, 97, just before it became out of control, where they had like 65 members.
Chris, what about you? What's your favorite version of the NWO?
I agree with Ben, but I must say when the Wolfpack came to be, it was a pretty exciting time, and that like when they had NWO Wolfpack, and they had like WWF going against them, and had DX and the Nation and everything. That was the biggest time in wrestling history, and I think Wolfpack wasn't exactly a bad choice, but they didn't use it the best to their ability. I don't think. Like, for example, why would Lex Luger and Sting join the NWO? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, the only thing that was really cool about that was that Sting got to wear the red face paint. But Sting is a WCW guy. He would never join any faction of the NWO, so that was really bad booking.
Hi. Say hi.
A little
Hi.
buddy.
Hello.
It's my finger. It's cool. It's my stick and my ear.
This is not the most interesting episode, guys.
All right.
Okay.
This is great.
Well, I gotta finish my episode, my friends. Okay, honey.
Okay.
All right. High fives.
Nice to meet you, mate.
Love you.
Bye,
We've got four people. We've got 4 people relying on this.
Allison will be like, we need more of your kids. Allison and Amy will be like, we need more. We need more.
Is that what Allison and Amy said?
No, I'm just.
But
I'm
Michael,
okay.
but Michael, is he WCW or is he NWO?
Are you WCW or NWO? Okay, he's NWO.
Hey.
So guys, I've been going through all my old wrestling magazines, and I found a couple of things of like worth talking about.
Oh, sweet.
So this is a copy of The Wrestler from August '87. Okay, and they used to do the rankings, like the top 10 from each territory.
Yeah.
Now, I'll try and zoom in for the people watching on YouTube. But in the Florida territory is Scott Hall ranked.
You mean the person watching on YouTube?
Yes. So Scott Hall is ranked number 6 back in '87. So fast forward 3 years, and we've got Inside Wrestling from May 1990, and there's a little right up here by Mr. Bill Apter. And I think you see Scott Hall there.
Oh, look at that mustache.
It's saying that former world-class champion Black Bart and former AWA World Tag Team Champion Scott Hall are now competing in the WWF. But this is from 1990. So as we know, Scott Hall didn't show up to the WWF until what? End of 92 or mid 92. So yeah. So Bill Apter, I'm afraid he missed the boat on this one, but maybe Scott Hall went there for a trial or something. But yeah, I thought that was worth mentioning on our episode.
Well, he had that Tom Zellick thing back then, but it wasn't until Dallas Page gave him the diamond stud that he started, getting somewhere, I think. And that was when he went to WCW. Sorry.
The diamond stud, yes, that was a good gimmick. It was Razor Ramon before Razor Ramon.
Yeah.
What we got here? DX versus NWO, but we gotta which version of the DX, which version of the NWO? I'm thinking you got Hall, Nash, and Hogan versus China, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So we gotta see, that's the thing with unfortunately, like I love Shawn, but they don't have enough guys with him when Shawn was around. Because even like you would have Road Dogg, because I would even do Road Dogg, X-Pac, Triple H, and Billy Gunn, and then you put him against Hall, Nash, Hogan, and then you could throw one guy in there. I don't know, Scott Steiner. Oh, Scott Steiner. All right, you need to go.
If you throw in Scott Steiner, how much of a chance does the other team have to win? If Scott Steiner...
Third chance.
Yeah, I know, because you jumped off the bed onto the floor. That's what I heard.
Foley.
Yeah, seriously, I got Mick Foley #2 over here. Yo, he was there during the Mick Foley Zoom. So he jumped into the Mick Foley Zoom. Hey, Adam, did you just see me in Jimmy's shirt?
I feel like I'm the only top guy that hasn't gotten a shirt yet. But
we left.
We left before our mail got here today. So
all right.
So you just joined. Maybe you might not get it.
But I got the Google form and I selected top guy. So
okay, then I don't know. I'm just
so maybe it arrived today and we'll just get it when we get home next Friday.
Cool. Yeah, it's like a soft t-shirt too. It's not like one of those hard ones. It's actually a really nice t-shirt.
Good. I prefer those soft t-shirts to the 100% cotton.
Like I might wear this to work one day. Could you sit down, please? All right. You're all done jumping on the bed. Okay.
I was just wondering. Obviously, it's pretty hard to find a good WCW match for Scott Hall. I said Uncensored against Sting was probably his best singles match. He had a lot of good tag team matches. Yeah. Back to the Razor WWF. Is there any other matches that stick out? Or like I said Rumble 93, but
I mean, there was also King of the Ring '93.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a ladder match.
too. Yeah.
That was a ladder match. Yeah.
US title.
I think he did win the U.S. title. Yeah.
Yeah,
He won the
did.
US title, but he didn't really. He didn't really care. Like, he got paid big money. He didn't really care. Like,
But then, what was it? The TV title that he threw in the trash?
Yeah. I think
yeah.
so.
I mean, to be fair, what the fuck is it?
Hey, Jimmy.
Oh, come on! Wow.
What
Jeez,
you
I didn't realize
remember?
with that.
Oh,
I
sorry,
didn't realize with that sort of podcast.
Good God!
Is that the
Oh.
WCW US title? Jimmy?
Yes.
Where'd you get that, Jim?
Can't see it. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I've had it for a while. I thought I brought this to San Antonio. I thought I did.
No, because I would have. No, you brought the other. You brought the other U.S. title to San Antonio.
I just thought of another great WCW moment with Scott Hall is he helped Kevin Nash beat Goldberg. So that was always a good
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, but was Kevin Nash on the booking or not? I don't know. It's a controversial one.
Either way,
doesn't
Goldberg
matter.
lost.
By the
It was
way, he
great.
was the one. Yeah. By the way, he was the reason why Goldberg lost.
Shout out to Mike Whitaker, who is a big Goldberg fan, by the way.
A
Yeah,
huge Goldberg fan.
Oh my gosh, he cannot put over enough.
Blah blah blah. Just nonstop Goldberg.
I didn't think that was. I didn't think that was the best thing to do at that time. By the way, because after that, WCW crashed big time. But anyway,
It crashed because a bunch of Turner execs didn't know what the heck to do, what they were doing, and couldn't leave Eric Bischoff alone.
Not on my bed. You're gonna fall.
that
over.
was part of it too. But I mean,
That's the main reason.
yeah, but Kevin Nash winning the belt. Yeah, this is awesome. Kevin Nash has won the belt, and then the finger poke at Doom is like,
No. No.
Oh, here we go.
No.
Red ass Jimmy.
It is a bunch of Turner Nimrods that couldn't keep their hands, who knew nothing about the wrestling business.
yeah,
Couldn't keep.
Are you
their
talking about
hands
Dave
up.
Meltzer?
no.
No, we're talking about Sherry.
We're talking about what?
Jimmy's talking about the new people that took over WCW. Are you?
The AOL Time Warner merger.
Yeah.
Telling him what to do, even though they knew nothing about. Like they were telling him, we should do this. You need to do this.
Who's this about? Scott Hall or the rise and fall of WCW?
I was defending Eric. I was defending.
You can defend.
Let's go back to Scott Hall.
Yeah, no, you can defend Eric all you want. But that's fine.
We're talking about. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. Another fantasy booking I thought that was pretty cool was I thought about like invasions and factions that try to invade. So I thought of the Shield because when they first kind of got in there, they're doing their thing. Now I'm not saying you put them up together, apples to apples, but like Hogan, Nash, and Hall versus Roman, Dean, and Seth would be a pretty good match.
Yep.
Yes, it was.
Question.
Maybe.
Out of the Shield, who is who out of those three? Like who's Hogan, who's Nash, who's Hall?
Reigns is definitely Hogan.
Yeah.
I would say
Like Dean's Hall.
I think Dean's Hall, yeah, and I think Seth is Nash, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of invasions, though, Gallagher, I felt when Scott Hall made his debut in WCW, the way he came in through the crowd, the way he was dressed, it felt like an actual invasion. And it wasn't so much like, why is he here? But it was more of a, how did he get in the building kind of thing? Because he clearly isn't from WCW. That's what made it just so memorable.
Yeah, you're right.
Different. It was different. It was nothing we've seen, and he was still in. I would argue that he was a bigger star in WCW. I mean, we said this before, but I think he was a bigger star in WCW than WWE. Like I personally liked Razor Ramon better, but I would argue that Scott Hall was a bigger star in WCW. I'd say WCW made Scott Hall and Kevin Nash.
Yep.
Who
100%.
was the creative genius behind that?
Yeah, of course, Eric Bischoff. I'm not. You say that like I'm not an Eric Bischoff fan. I mean, I'm not driving to Cody, Wyoming like you did, but I mean, you act like I don't love Eric Bischoff like you do.
That was more a joke towards Mr. Unfortunately, that was a joke towards our friend Chris. I apologize.
Oh, me? Nah, it's all good, mate.
Gallagher, you got any more fantasy bookings or?
I do actually. Did we? We did. We already did NWO versus DX.
Yeah.
You got any ones?
Hall versus Cena.
Hall versus who?
John Cena, John Cena.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. Hall would tear him apart in the promos.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Cena can handle. I mean, I think Scott Hall will do good, but Cena can handle himself on the stick.
Yeah.
All right. What about NWO versus the Bloodline?
Yes.
Oh, the NWO easy. NWO would beat anybody, I think.
I don't know if
Yeah.
I mean,
anybody.
I don't know if Roman doesn't beat NWO Hulk Hogan.
NWO.
I don't know, man.
I mean, I can't see Roman beating 80s Hulk Hogan, but I can see Roman beating 90s Hulk Hogan.
I mean, we're talking about the tribal chief here. We're talking about main event Jay.
Yes, we are. I'm agreeing with you. I'm thinking the Bloodline. I think they give him a run for their money.
Depends how many members of the NWO, because
yeah. And that's a tough one because you really just can't pick, like, and you kind of have to have like a timeliness on it, right? Like you got to be like, okay, well, these guys are running at this time, so we gotta have to have this the NWO here, because you can't. I mean, unless you just want to do anybody who's ever been in the NWO.
96, okay, no, 96, NWO.
Yeah, at six there, the Giant in there.
you got Six Pack and Giant. Well, that's a pretty good team still.
Yeah,
So I'll say July/August of 96. The original 3 members.
Okay.
The original 3 versus Roman and the Usos.
Well, the original 3 took over WCW, a whole company. So I'd say the NWO.
There you go.
I'm going with the Bloodline.
Over
Okay,
the NWO. I mean, I think Roman.
I think Ben would back me up here.
I think Hogan gives Roman for his money, but I mean, I think at the end of the day, the NWO takes care of that.
Okay. NWO versus Evolution.
NWO.
So that would be.
Maybe we should save this for like a factions episode.
Yeah, like
yeah, exactly. We're kind of going a bit off topic a little bit.
Off topic is what we do, Chris.
That's all right.
And then we have to try and we've got to steer it back.
Steer it back.
One more.
I do have something that can steer us back, but I'll let Jimmy go first. Go on, Jimmy. Sorry, mate.
And the NWO, and adding 6-Pac in there, make it 4.
Okay.
Austin, Rock, Taker, Triple H.
Mankind.
Oh, Mankind. Okay.
Mankind before Triple H. Yeah.
Chris, you're hurting me.
Well, Triple H, if he's gone by what he's saying, Triple H wasn't a main event by then. So.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I think
That could go either way.
I think everybody wins. We get to watch that match.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
So that's kind of all I got for Scott Hall. Ben, you got any questions for us?
We sure do. Okay, up first, Brad Stanton wants to know, so was Scott Hall the last man to successfully pull off an excessive amount of chest hair? Shout out to Allison.
Who else is hairy?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Seth Rollins?
Gotta go. Gotta go.
Not to the level of Scott Hall.
No. He said who's pulled it off. They didn't say how as good as Scott Hall. He just says
Oh,
it
okay.
off.
What about
Yeah,
Rusev?
I was
or
going to say George the Animal Steel, but he was before Scott Hall.
It was
That was
before
more-
Scott. Yeah,
George
Rusev.
Edge has got something now. Edge and Seth Rollins, I think, pull it off okay.
Yes, Harry.
That's a weird ass question.
Well, yeah. I mean, we get the questions, we've got to answer them. So,
Yeah.
all right, another one from Brad. Was the angle with him and the kid a perfect way to tell a story?
Yes.
Oh, for sure. Especially to get for the time, a smaller guy over. Absolutely.
Yeah, that was amazing. And how they incorporated Razor's face turn as well. Like you had Ted DiBiase coming out and basically teasing Razor for losing. Yeah, it was just great. Okay, up next, Mike Whitaker. So Scott Hall had a great mind for the business. If you could have one conversation with him, what would it be about?
Oh my God, that's a tough one.
Oh, look, I don't know. I'd just say, look, mate, I really appreciate you, like, for everything. I just think you're an amazing performer and you've got a brilliant mind in the business. And yeah, just for me personally, I've always looked up to you, and you're just radiant coolness.
Yeah,
Like you
so
are.
let him know how much like he meant to you, kind of thing.
Yeah, and just say, look up wrestlers that are cool. You know, Scott Hall.
Scott Hall.
You put
Yeah.
Kevin Nash next to him. They're both, I mean, the outsiders. You know, for life.
Mm.
First of all,
I don't know.
yeah. Shout out to
Yeah.
the Kick Out crew. They're doing some great stuff over there. Go check them out
It is your show.
because it's your show. But no, that's a great question, Whitaker. And I think I would just kind of shoot the shit with him about life, talking about his family, talking about why he wanted to be a wrestler and how he became a wrestler, and just kind of shoot the shit with him because he seems like he take the time to do that.
Yep.
Genuine. Very genuine.
Jimmy, what about you? What would you say to him?
Thank you. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for the moments. Thank you for giving. Know you had your struggles, but we're all human. But thank you for being you. Never being anyone like you.
Perfect. Perfectly said. AJ, what about you?
Man, I would thank him for one of the best Hall of Fame speeches ever, especially that last line. And I would love for him to give me just some storyline ideas that he had. You know, he helped create Crow Sting, and I think he could have been great on a creative team if he could have gotten his demons under control.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So Whitaker also asks that if Scott Hall was still around today, do you think he would be doing something in the business? If so, what would he be doing?
Yes.
Yeah, he would be involved for sure.
Are we thinking? Are we thinking like helping out with development or creative, podcast?
Dude,
I think he'd be doing
podcast.
yeah.
All the
I
above.
think he'd be doing podcast definitely, but I think he would be helping with creative if they needed him. Yeah.
Because I'm sure with Triple H being in the position that he is, he'd easily employ Scott Hall to do whatever.
Yeah.
I apologize for the background noise. People I think are lighting up fireworks. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty
I
sure.
was going to say, Jimmy, like you need to sort that out. It's very distracting. I'm joking. I can't hear it.
Hey, that's really cool, Jimmy. Is that I can't. Yeah, it is. That's the WCW tag team title. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Where do you get these belts from the WWE store?
No.
Excellent.
Belts are us.
Thank you, Bruce.
That's
All
awesome.
right. Another question from Whitaker. If you could book Scott Hall in his prime versus someone today, who would it be? So let's think one-on-one.
101.
Like wrestlers today.
Yeah.
Like, so I can't say The Rock. No.
Well, I like to
That would
see
have been a great
versus-
match.
I'd like to see him versus Solo Sikoa.
Okay.
Seth, because he always
AJ, you did AJ?
no, he's distracted.
Oh, it looks like he's talking to somebody else. Yeah, I think it'd be cool to see him versus Solo. I think that they would beat the snot out of each other.
Him and Kevin.
Oh yeah. Him and Sammy too.
Him and a 50-year-old Rey Mysterio.
I reckon Kevin Owens and him would probably have a good feud, and like even the microphone banter would be interesting.
Well, if we could have seen it like 20 years ago, if Scott would have had his demons under control then, a then healthy Scott Hall versus the second coming of Shawn Michaels, felt like would have been good.
Oh no, but we're talking about
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Well, I interpret it with his question, so I want to interpret them because. Well,
Yeah.
I play by
AJ, what about you, mate?
3 people came to mind instantly: MJF, LA Knight, and Cody Rhodes.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
That would be good.
Yeah. Cody Rhodes, I agree with that one.
MJF, well, Scott Hall would carry MJF.
Yeah. MJF would be
All right. Final question, and I think we know where this is going. It's from Whitaker. If Pizza Hut made a Scott Hall pizza, what would be on it? Now, before you answer, he has actually proposed a pizza idea. So he would have roast pork, ham, Swiss cheese, and pickles as a thin crust. It'd be a Cuban sandwich on a pizza, and he would call it the Hall Edge.
Why the heck pickles?
Because it's a Cuban
That's what
sandwich.
you put on Cuban sandwich, Jimmy.
Have you ever had a Cuban sandwich? Oh, you're missing out.
No.
So
Why the heck Pizza Hut? Why can't it be Domino's?
because
Hey,
it's
look.
Whitaker and he likes Pizza Hut.
I don't know.
Isn't Pizza Hut better than Domino's anyway?
No.
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
I think local pizza is the best pizza.
Yeah, Domino's and Pizza Hut are just. But
I mean, it's all crap, but anyway. So what do you think about his ingredients?
I honestly
Would you change?
I wouldn't change it.
Minus
Yeah.
the pickle.
Yeah.
Other than that, no.
I'd probably have a lot of toothpicks in the pizza.
I like it.
More toothpick, less pickle.
That's awesome.
All right. Chris, have you actually got a toothpick?
Yeah, I got one.
Throw it at the camera.
So
There you
bad,
go.
remember this, bad times
All
don't,
right.
but bad guys
Bad
do.
Bad guys do.
All right.
Camera there.
So that's it for the questions.
That's it, huh? All right.
Yeah.
Want to jump into Jonesy's jokes?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Got to put the gimmicks on.
Yeah. Shay is.
We're all doing gimmicks now, mate.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we ready?
Yep.
As I handed my dad his 60th birthday card, he looked at me with tears in his eyes and said, "You know what? One would have been enough."
Have to kill all mosquitoes
Uh-oh.
in the area.
Oh,
Oh,
what is
oh.
that?
That is a video. I was trying to prepare for Mike's Music Corner, but I don't know if I'm going to do it. I might do it as a when we get off the Zoom today. I think I might
Yep.
try that just to see how it works.
All right. I might have to start calling you Chris Jericho for interrupting the great one.
That what you think?
Well,
Okay. Next one. Why do we dress babies in onesies?
Why?
Because they can't dress themselves.
oh boy.
All right. Number 3. What's green and not heavy?
What's green?
Frog.
It is green and not heavy.
What's
frog.
that?
It's light green.
Oh jeez.
Number 4.
That was good. I like that one. That was good.
All right. Okay, good. All right. Number 4. My books fell out of my bookcase, but I only have my shelf to blame.
Puns.
Yep. Okay. Lucky last. Yesterday, I saw an ad that said radio for sale, $1, button stuck on full blast. I thought, well, I can't turn that down. You're welcome.
Ayo.
Jonesy's jokes.
Jonesy's jokes. All
Right
right.
there.
Go on.
All right. So I figure we just kind of go around the horn once more time. Everybody just kind of tell us where we can find out, do a quick wrap up, and we'll take it from there. So we'll start with our man Chris. Chris, where can we find you?
Well, I mean, I was on Patreon with you guys, and I will be back. But if you want to reach out to me, I'm on Twitter. Cripply Tweets is my stable. So it's like Ripley, like Rhea Ripley, but it's like CH in front of it. So Cripply and then Tweets. So I'm on Twitter.
Okay. Adam, where can we find you?
Oh boy, get a pen. At the ARJ brand for the personal and wrestling stuff, at Coach A Jefferson for the football stuff, at Just Thoughts Pod, and Just One Man's Thoughts podcast. And if you're interested in following the football team I coach on, at Lakewood Football 1 as well.
Okay. Jimmy, any final thoughts?
This was fun. Thank you, Chris, for hopping on. Thanks for Domino, Chris. He was having poor Wi-Fi issues. Being in the Panhandle, poor data issues, and Mr. Jefferson, thank you for actually making it on tonight. It was actually great to have you back on. To actually,
Just thank you, Mrs. Jefferson, for allowing you to jump on with us.
Yes, that's the correct answer.
Hey, she said it's your vacation too. You hop on, so glad I was able to.
You know what? I was actually going to start this episode. I'm glad you jumped on because, dude, you're living your best life, man.
I'm telling you, school's over.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Jeff,
that's awesome.
no worries. That's what I'm focused on.
but
Ben, where can we find you?
Twitter, AFS Ben Jones, and also Zip Code Bros on Twitter. But also, just a reminder for the people that only listen to the podcast, we're also on YouTube as well. So check us out there.
Check us out, our handsome faces. James.
You just get. I wasn't able to plug my Twitter tweet. I was
Go for
at OG James ad free. Jimmy Sorensen 97 on Instagram. James Sorensen on Facebook. Sorry, I wasn't trying to be. You skipped over me. Sorry.
You're
Sorry,
good.
John.
Everything's good. And again, go check out Domino, Chris, and his 30 ballparks in 30 days. He's
Yep.
got real cool stuff on there, and I believe his Twitter handle is at Real Domino Chris or at Domino Chris. I don't know which one it is, but it's one of those two. But go check him out. He's got some cool stuff on there, and really
Subscribe to his YouTube channel too at Real Domino Chris.
so go check him out. Well, that's it for us. I would say one more for the bad guys.
Bad times,
Good night,
though.
everybody.
Bad guys do.
See you guys.